Hello guys and welcome to App Screencast. Danny here. In today's video we've got a face-off between the iPhone 4, the iPhone 4S and the new iPhone 5. So in this video I'm going to be focusing on speed and just see how the new iPhone performs over the past generations. So I think it makes sense for the first test to be a boot test, so let's get these phones fired up. So while these phones are booting up, I'll just quickly go over the specs. The iPhone 4 has the A4 chip, which is a single core processor and also has half a gig of RAM. The iPhone 4S is dual core, it's the A5 chip and has half a gig of RAM as well. The iPhone 5 has the A6 chip, which is dual core, same as the 4S, but is meant to be twice as fast, and also has 1 GB of RAM. So as you can see there, the iPhone 5 finishes first, the iPhone 4S not long after, and as you see the iPhone 4 is still booting up. So just quick thoughts on this. Obviously extra power is really important and really good, but it's not just about having the extra power, it's also managing that power. So obviously you don't want massive drain on your battery, which is quite a worry when you get a much more powerful phone. So on first impressions though, the iPhone 5 has been really good on battery and probably a little bit better than the 4S. So in the next test I thought I'd compare Safari and just see how fast these phones can load full websites. Now these are not mobile websites, actually the full-blown websites, which I thought would be a good test for each of these phones. Also, they're all three of the phones are on the same Wi-Fi connection. So this is not an iPhone 5 LT test or anything like that. This is just all about the iPhone 5's hardware and how it can render the websites. So let's get the test started. So first up I thought I'd do a quick speed test of the Wi-Fi connection just to see how these three phones are performing on my Wi-Fi network. All three phones did over 40 megabytes download and over 3 megabytes upload every time I did a speed test. So as you can see there, off the bat things are pretty even. So first up I thought I'd load the BBC website in the browser. As you can see here, the actual iPhone 5 finishes first, but only a split second behind is the iPhone 4S. And the iPhone 4 is kind of lagging behind there, it's definitely noticeable. Next up we have YouTube, and the iPhone 5 seems to get off to a slow start here, but still manages to pip the iPhone 4S to the post. And once again the iPhone 4 is lagging behind. So next up we have the Engadget website. It's quite a heavy website this, so it'll take some rendering. At the minute it looks like quite even between the iPhone 5 and 4S. The iPhone 5 is finished, the 4S is still going. Now that's finished, and we can see the iPhone 4 is still going. Now if you check the status bar at the top of the iPhones, that's where you'll be able to see when the websites are finished loading. And the iPhone 4 is just done. So in the next test I want to show you me launching the settings application. Now all three phones are going to launch this application pretty much instantly, but you will notice there's a slight difference. And if you imagine using the settings application, going into the phone app, also into your messages, that a little extra bit of responsiveness does definitely show over a long period of time and definitely does make the overall user experience better. So just watch this and see what you think. And here's a replay of that. So there isn't a great deal of difference between the iPhone 5 and 4S when you're just navigating through the settings and the menus, but you definitely can see a difference between the iPhone 5 and the iPhone 4, and for sure the iPhone 5 is just more responsive. So next up I'm going to launch the iTunes application. So this is a combination of launching an app as well as loading content from the web. As you'll see here, the iPhone 5 and iPhone 4S are very close, but once again the iPhone 4 finishes noticeably behind the iPhone 5. So next up we're going to have the camera test to see how quick the application will launch and be ready to take a picture. Sometimes when you're taking photos the most important thing is timing, so you really want the application to launch quick and be ready to go. So let's have a look. So the iPhone 5 camera is very similar to the iPhone 4S camera. It's 8 megapixels and it's very similar quality, but as we saw there, actually the iPhone 5 camera does launch a lot quicker, so this could be definitely very useful if you take a lot of pictures. So here I'm actually taking multiple photos as quick as I can, tapping the actual shutter button. The iPhone 5 pretty much kept up with my finger. Every time I tapped the button it would take a picture. The iPhone 4S was very close to that, and the iPhone 4 was actually quite a bit laggier and it couldn't really keep up with my presses. In terms of real world use, would you want to do this? Probably not, but I think for a demonstration this shows you how the difference is between the cameras and how important the processor is. And also it's worth bearing in mind that iPhone 5 can record video as well as take pictures at the same time, so definitely the processor helps there. So doing these tests, my final thoughts is the iPhone 5 is no doubt a very powerful phone, very fast, very snappy. Now the iPhone 4 is not a bad phone. It did lose pretty much all the tests obviously because it is obviously older hardware, but to be honest it's still a really good phone. It still performs really well and it's still very snappy and a good performer. So if you've got an iPhone 4, it's still a great phone. If you're thinking about even getting one, I definitely would recommend one of them phones if you get it for the right price. And if you are upgrading from the iPhone 4 to the iPhone 5, you'll definitely notice an improvement in overall performance, and obviously you've got added benefit of like the screen and the improved front facing camera, etc. Now moving on to the iPhone 4S, this is where it gets tricky now. In terms of general performance, it's very close to the iPhone 5, arguably on par in most scenarios. But where I think things do change is the iPhone 5 is going to be better when it comes to the latest games in terms of frame rate and stuff, actually running them games. They are going to be smoother, and I think that's where you'll see the difference. And also things like 3D maps. If you're someone who likes to use 3D maps and things like that, you'll find that the iPhone 5 performs just that little bit better overall, and you can push the iPhone 5 a little bit more in terms of what it's capable of. So this is obviously up to developers to really push the iPhone 5 hardware with games and applications and so on. Now if you're someone who uses an iPhone 4S and you're looking to upgrade to an iPhone 5, you probably won't notice a huge difference in terms of performance. You may not even notice any difference at all. But if you are someone into your gaming, then definitely think it could be a good upgrade, because you are going to get obviously much better performance as I've talked about, but also you're going to have that larger screen, which I think is just a massive bonus when it comes to gaming and watching videos. So thanks for watching this video everyone, hopefully you found it useful. Be sure to subscribe for more coverage on the iPhone 5, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.